Welcome back to the Black and Gold Report. We're still joined by head football coach Shane Richardson. Coach, you added some new coaches since November, 2 on the defensive side with Joe Ford as your co-defensive coordinator and defensive backs coach, as well as Liddell Love on the defensive line, and then Cody Kennedy as your offensive line coach. How have the players at those positions responded to the leadership of those coaches?
Very well, and there's always a natural transition that takes place with new personalities and new ideas and a new voice in each of those rooms, and we expected that. We went through that last spring, and so what I really wanted to do was to emphasize to those coaches that as leaders of those rooms, they need to go in and they need to be able to really do a great job of developing relationships with those guys and being able to get those guys to trust them, to buy into them, to let them know that they care about them, and then the coaching can take place. And so I think our coaches did a great job of that in the first 7 weeks of our winter workouts and the time that we had with them to try to develop them. And now in spring ball, I think that's made it a little bit easier. Of course, everything's not going to be perfect the first time around, and so spring ball here, we're seeing how, you know, maybe we've got to change some things and communicate a little bit differently, but all in all, it's been a very positive impact that the coaches have had on the new guys, and I think it'll go well as we step into the future here.
Well, you basically installed a new offense last season when Johnny Cox arrived during the spring semester. Have you used the spring season to install more of an offensive scheme, or has it been mainly used as time to clean up what people were able to see during the fall?
Well, last fall, we were so young and so underdeveloped on offense that we were very limited to what we could do with it all being new coupled with that. And so now, a year more experienced, a year more into the system, a year more developed, we feel like we're able to put in a little bit more, but we really, what we're focusing on now is trying to emphasize what the strengths are for each of our players and our positions. And so what they can do well, we want to stick to. And so that's what we're trying to do offensively. We've been able to put in some newer, more advanced stuff, but we still have a team concept, a program concept to where we want to keep it as simple as possible. We want our guys to be able to play fast and be confident with what they're doing. So it's been a good mix of that. And so just testing the waters this spring to see what guys can handle and what guys need to be in what positions. That's what we've been focused on, and it's gone really well. Our offense should be much improved.
Well, I know you've been able to take your team through a couple of scrimmages so far. What has been the structure of those scrimmages, and what have you been able to take out of them and move forward with?
Yep, so our scrimmage opportunities so far have been basically practices, but the team periods have been live opportunities. And so it hasn't necessarily been starting 1st and 10 with a kickoff and all the special teams incorporated, and we have 2 teams playing against each other. It's been more scenarios that we've placed upon the guys. We've given them specific situations such as all 3rd downs are live, all red zone plays are live, but we will start to advance into more game-like flow of a scrimmage setup here for the next 5 practices. And so the live work that we have gotten done has been very good for us. Again, going back to see who can really block and tackle and make people miss. And when the bullets are flying, you want to be able to see what guys can really step up. And so we've been able to do that, but I think the next 5 days will really show us what we want to see coming out of spring.
Well, we want to hit on a few areas on the field before we let you go. A big question mark heading into the spring season was at the quarterback position. Mm-hmm. Have you been able to put together a depth chart at quarterback yet? And how comfortable are you moving forward into August and then into the 2015 campaign?
That's been a position that I've been very, very pleased with. And so that was a big question mark last fall. And we were very deficient at that position, very young, very inexperienced. But now we've got a couple guys there that are really competing hard for that. And in fact, we had a referee crew, an officials crew that was here on Saturday, and a couple of those guys said, hey, your quarterbacks look really good. And so that was encouraging just for other people outside of the program to see that and notice that. But we're probably not ready to name a starter quite yet, but we do have 2 or 3 guys right in the mix there that are really fighting it out with Reggie Pinner, Pat O'Brien, and Andrew Goodman. Of course, he had experience last year. Reggie had experience last year, and Pat was able to sit from the side and get a great coach's eye view, and so I think that's really helped him as well. But all 3 of those guys are very capable, and they're doing a fantastic job this spring to show us who really wants the job.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on the show with us
Thanks
today.
a lot, Jenna.
Thank you. And the annual spring game will be held on Thursday, April 9th at 6 p.m. inside Grace P. Johnson Stadium. The event is open to the public and admission is free. We're going to take our next commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking to head track and field coach Dr. Peter Ormsby. So stay tuned.